You know, things are moving so fast right now. It's hard to keep up with all of the insanity that's going on. And part of you almost is like, you know what? I just need to disconnect. I got things to worry about. There are things that really matter in my life, immediate life, that I need to take care of, and just kind of tune out the insanity. But see, most of us are not geared that way to operate for too long. We want to be able to be watchmen and understand what's happening in the world, and so that we can continue to prepare and just deal with the things that may be coming that are going to affect us. And that really troubles most of us who have some sort of a sense of history. And all throughout history, you see these people, these governments, these bureaucrats rise in tyranny and then afflict their people through food. And that's what's happening right now. We're seeing, that didn't used to be that way at the beginning of our country early on. This hasn't been that way for anyone's memory that's alive today. And so, although it has happened numerous times throughout history, Mao Zedong and Joseph Stalin killed millions of people by food regulations, so just starving them to death. Real food is getting expensive, and we are seeing this continuous march towards registration and confiscation of food products and food producers. So let's just get rid of some of these articles. Here's the first one over at ABC. It's ABC News. It's from the Australian version. It says poultry farmers urge backyard chicken owners to implement biosecurity measures and help curb the bird cough. I'm going to try to use some of the language in the next couple of videos that I think won't get me too far beaten by the YouTube algorithm. And so just hang with me here. It says chicken farmers are calling on backyard poultry owners to protect their animals from disease and to help stop the nation's largest outbreak of bird cough from spreading and further affecting the egg industry. After the detection of the blank blank and blank blank strains, hundreds of thousands of chickens have been euthanized, all for the better. And quarantine zones have been set up around 5 farms near Meredith and Terang in Victoria. Despite Coles recently implementing purchasing limits on eggs, yes, you can't purchase too much food. We have to have food for everyone. So you don't get to buy that food. No. You're going to be rationed. Industry leaders have reassured consumers that egg shortages are unlikely, as only about 4% of Australia's egg-laying hens have been caught up in the outbreak as of now. So what this all comes down to is that the government wants you, the backyard farmer, to go ahead and implement biosecurity measures to protect your flock, because this is so dangerous. Now, let me just ask, how many people have actually died from this thing? How many people yesterday in Australia died from car accidents? Does that make my point? This is about a progression of control. They want you to get used to this idea of regulation and control so that confiscations and prohibitions can be put into place. All right, that was earlier this last month in June. This is now going into July. Avian influenza threat raises discussion of compulsory. So we've gone a month from June to July, and now we're at compulsory. In short, poultry industry leaders are calling for a more targeted investment. Oh yes, see, this is an investment of our future. It's a good thing. To ensure backyard chicken owners are part of the government's plan for future outbreaks of avian influenza. Paige Dugan says she is open to keeping the government informed about her backyard chooks, I guess that's what they call them in Australia, chooks, to help minimize the impact of a bird cough outbreak. But she said that was as long as the expectations weren't too onerous. See, I'm sorry, Paige, you've already let them in the door. Well, just so long as you don't, get too crazy, you can come on in and help us to do better. No, don't let them in at all. Do not let them in at all, because once they're in, they will not leave. They're like a disease, and the bureaucratic disease will spread, and the control will take over, and the things will become harsher and harsher, the registrations and penalties, until you can't have anything anymore ever. Now, a while back I did a video where I was talking about here in the United States, where there was a certain municipality that had urged its residents and citizens to register your backyard flocks. Just go ahead and register your flock. We'll give you a permit, and then you can keep your flocks. And what happened? A bunch of people registered, telling that city government, that municipality, where they lived and where their chickens were being housed, and then the people showed up and confiscated their chickens. Here's that clip. Recently in the town of Fayetteville, Tennessee, an article was put in the Elk Valley Times informing the people of Fayetteville that if they would like to keep their chickens, they would have to file for a permit. Many people did, as they tried to do the right thing and remain obedient. One member of the community said that the inspector came out. He never looked at where the chickens were and proceeded to tell them that they could no longer have chickens in the city limits. Well, wait, don't you even want to see where we have them contained? They asked. Honestly, he said, no one, as I understand it, will get a permit. The application was just to find out where the chickens were. If you hadn't applied, we would have never even looked here. They only had a few hens for fresh eggs, and now they will be forced to get rid of them. Registration leads to confiscation. What all this means as we continue to progress towards the inevitable is an increasing price on real food. Real food. They want you to eat all of this highly processed gobbledygook. You have no idea where it comes from. You have no idea what's in it. Today, back when I mentioned this before, back when I worked at McDonald's, my first job ever, 15 years old, I worked at McDonald's. Back then, they actually cracked open real eggs and made, whatever egg product they were going to make, whether it was the cheese sandwich or, the biscuits and whatever egg stuff. All that was made with real eggs that someone in the back cracked open a real egg. And today, they open up a plastic package and then dump the egg. Who knows what's in that? Is that just eggs, or is there other things, because obviously it's delivered in plastics. Obviously, there's other additives and preservatives inside of that thing. You have no idea what's in that. When you cracked open a real egg, you cracked open a real egg. Real food today is becoming increasingly expensive. A lot of people, because I've recommended before, I say go out and find a farmer who sells beef either by the quarter or the half or the full beef, and then buy it in bulk. And I know that's expensive. It's an expensive upfront cost. But here's the thing. Number one, it's actually going to be cheaper than buying it at the store individually when you buy it in bulk. And number two, you've worked out a deal with a farmer that you can trust. You can say, hey, how do you raise your animals? Do you give them any injections? Do you give them any, GMO corn to corn finish them? Or are they grass finished? You understand what is in that product, short of doing it yourself. There's a relationship there, and that farmer has now been paid for his labor, and it's going to incentivize him to continue to provide food for you and others like you. And that keeps that marketplace open. A marketplace that historically usually goes black a lot of times throughout history, as we've seen that over and over again. Even during World War II, one of the most traded black market items, I think the most traded black market item during World War II was beef. So here's the deal. Understand that I know it's expensive, but that's the cost today of real food. You can go out and get cheap stuff, processed stuff, other things, and that's all expensive too. All that prices are going up just as well. Like I made a point to my patrons the other day. I went to Rockbridge, Missouri. Rockbridge is a fantastic place, but you can spend a lot of money there pretty quick. They charge you, they have like a few thousand acres of amazing cold spring stream. Beautiful stream, very cold, and it's got trout in it, and they basically hatch the trout and they put the trout in there, and they eat normal things. They just live like trout in that spring, and they charge there's no fishing permits. There's no fishing. They have your own permit that you get when you get there, but there's no limit. Like in Missouri, you can only get like 5 trout per day or something like that. There's no limit, and you can load up as much as you want, but you're gonna pay $5.75 per pound live weight. And some people are like, that's expensive. It is expensive until you go and you look, what does a farm fresh, now this is made on the farm, raised on the farm, harvested on the farm, fish, trout, go for at the store. I went to my local Harps in the city the other day, and I found farm fresh red ruby trout. And the reason it's red ruby is because of all the astaxanthin and other coloring they put into the farm food to make them so red. $17.99 a pound. $17.99 a pound. That's fresh from the farm. I would rather, I think what my total came to when I went to Rockbridge was like $13 a pound, 12 or 13, maybe 14 tops when you add in other costs. That's pretty good. It's expensive, yes. But I got a bunch of fish. I know where it comes from. I know where it spent most of its life. And I got the joy of me and my youngest son catching them. Real food is going to be expensive. You know, you can't go to a restaurant today and get real food. Most restaurants, unless you're going to a Michelin star restaurant, or every restaurant serves food that comes off the same Cisco truck. You know, those 18-wheeler Cisco's, a Cisco SYSCO on the side of them, Cisco trucks. They provide all the restaurants. You're getting fed from one place, no matter what restaurant you go to. And it's all highly, highly processed. There's no real cooks anymore in these restaurants. All they do is open up the packaging, heat it up, and serve you. That's all they do. Guys, real food's going to be expensive. That's just the way it is. Understand this. This is why when it comes back to homesteading, when you raise some animals, when you grow a garden, when you have chickens and you're having your own eggs, it's like printing your own money. It literally is like printing your own money. If there's one takeaway from today's video, understand that. That's why you need to spend so much time making sure those things are cultivated and that they are producing. You are a producer, because it's like printing your own money, and that's going to be so, so important in the future. You're seeing the same craziness I'm seeing. This is not, no society that has gone this crazy ever continues to succeed and produce and grow and go forward and accomplish great and wonderful things. They don't. They fall, collapse, people starve, people die. And your job right now is to take inventory of what's around you and prepare for that eventuality, because it is coming. So what I want you to do is understand that when you grow food, a garden, when you go ahead and raise animals, when you go ahead and have chickens and lay eggs and all that stuff, you're printing your own money. You're ensuring your own wealth. You're gaining wealth. And you're doing it yourself. I've had a lot of you guys come to me. I'm going to wrap it up here real quick. I've had a lot of you guys come to me over the last few weeks. Zach, my garden is just not doing well. Zach, my garden is just not producing. We've had a hard time this year. I get it. And for usually a lot of people who are new, that can be a hard learning experience and learning curve. It takes time to learn how to do these things. It takes time to learn how to raise animals and raise them successfully. Put the time in now. Go ahead and take those lumps, because it's going to pay off later. But understand that you have to actually get your hands dirty. You have to actually set aside the time and get out in your garden and do these things if you want your garden to produce. A garden needs to be tended. If you're not, I know the day just got away from me, Zach. I just didn't have time today to get out there. Okay, well then your garden's going to suffer, especially if you do it day after day. There's always something that comes up. There's always going to be something that demands your attention. But focus. Stay focused. You've got to do this. You've got to learn. If your garden or your animals are suffering, it's because you're not putting in the effort to learn and to deal with the things you need to deal with. Simple as that. All right. Leave a comment below. I want to know your thoughts. It's getting crazy out there. And anyway, for those of you guys who are in the Ozarks and you do know about Rockbridge, Missouri. Yes, it can be expensive, but I'm going to give you a hint, a tip over at the Patreon account. There's lots of stuff over at patreon.com/American Homestead. You can download those PDF books. It's basically my medicine cabinet. Each of these sell for over $1,000 over at Amazon.com. You can download those over there at patreon.com/American Homestead. Links below. But also, I recently gave you my chicken blueprint for my chicken coop that we have here in the homestead that Tim built. You can download that also over there. But right now, today, I'm going to put up a video over there showing my patrons how to catch fish at Rockbridge on almost every single cast. There's a secret. There's a hint. I learned it years ago. I've been going there since I was a teenager. I can catch a trout. My kids can catch a trout on almost every single cast, and I'm going to give you that tip and trick. And it actually works with other fish as well. So go over and check out that tip. If you like fishing, if you like trout, if you ever go to Rockbridge and you want to catch some good fish, catch them quickly, Listen, I'm not a trophy hunter. I don't go out there and try to find the biggest bucks. I don't go out there and try to find the biggest fish so I can mount them on a wall. I could care less. I hunt and fish for one reason only, and that's for the freezer. Freezer camp. Let's see how many people can we get into freezer camp this year. That's why I hunt. So I go to Rockbridge, I get my fishing done, and then we're going. I want to catch them quickly. And if you go over to patreon.com right now, there's a video up there where you can watch me show you the tip, the hint, the trick on how to catch a fish on almost every single cast. All right. See you next time in the homestead. Bye. One of the best perks about living off-grid is that I never pay an electric bill. I love being my own power company, but that means when things go wrong, I have to be the one on call. So I try and use reliable components for my power production. For the last couple of years, I have been promoting Oupes solar generators. I've been using them and abusing them, and as it turns out, they are pretty good products. They have power generators for all occasions, and they can be charged by permanent or portable solar panels, as well as AC power. They offer true lithium iron phosphate batteries, and this is important. Recently, a family in my area had a different brand that uses the less stable nickel manganese cobalt, or NMC type batteries. The unit caught fire in the middle of the night. It was a scary situation and it caused damage to the home, but thankfully nobody was hurt. The generator, as you can see, was a total loss. This drives home the point on why it's so important to employ solar generators like the Oupes brand that uses the much more safe and stable technology of lithium iron phosphate, otherwise called LiFePO4. They offer small generators for travel or for powering an entire home and everything in between. These are great backups to have in a medical emergency, or to power a freezer full of your favorite meat products, or as I have shown in past videos, for even backup AC and DC power sources for ham radio communications. If the grid goes down, you're going to be thankful you have one of these units. You can find the link in the description of this video or click on the banner ad found on the front page of our website at AmericanHomestead.com. Right here, that banner ad right there on AmericanHomestead.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.